Today's episode of The Blue Room was sponsored by absolutely no one. No One features a wide variety of nothing and can be found in the link that's not in the description below. I think we got it. Welcome to The Blue Room. I'm Lincoln. Okay, today I want to talk about just like a memento that I have in the house. It's this hat. Now, this Ghostbusters hat was released by New Era. Can't remember what year it was. But it was a little while ago. And they obviously released it in the States. And being here in Canada, sometimes it's a little hard to get certain products shipped to Canada. Like some companies won't ship them. They just won't ship them across the border or whatever. So I really wanted this hat. And how I got it is one day, it's kind of a funny story. So I watched this movie called Out of Print. Out of Print is a documentary about the New Beverly Cinema. The New Beverly Cinema is a theater on Beverly Boulevard in Hollywood that prides itself on showing films in only 35 millimeter format. The cinema was owned by this man named Sherman Torgan. And before he owned it, in the 50s, it was actually many theaters, including a pornographic theater. So Sherman Torgan takes over the New Beverly, names it the New Beverly Cinema, and it stays there for years. And then Sherman passes away. In that time when he passed away, the owner of the building wanted to tear it down and put in a Chipotle, which is horrible because there's not many revival theaters left. Quentin Tarantino actually bought the theater. It's wonderful. So anyway, I watched this documentary and instantly I'm like, oh my God, I have to go see this theater. I have to go and experience this. 5 days later, I hopped on a plane to LA. I landed in LA and the first thing I did was I hopped in another Uber and I headed down to the New Era flagship store, and it's the only thing I bought on that LA trip. And I was in LA for less than 24 hours. My plan wound up being that I went and saw a triple feature. I saw Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, and then I saw this movie called Robot Jox, Jox, which was one of those so bad it's good kind of movies. And then the midnight feature was Inglourious Basterds. Wonderful experience. Wonderful. Just this. I spent 10 plus hours in the theater and just chatting with the guys running the place and the people, the regulars that were always there, and just kind of experience and just being in LA. I love LA. Being there and experiencing that and getting out of my comfort zone was an incredible experience. I don't wear this hat ever. It actually just sits on a shelf by my desk in my office. Every time I look at it, it reminds me of that one of those moments where I went out on a limb and I just randomly took a trip to LA for less than 24 hours. It's I've done a lot of fun things in my life, which I'm sure you'll hear about through videos in this series. It's small things like that that really make you appreciate what you do with your life. So there's not many things. I'm 31, just turned 31. So I'm still very young, but in that time, in that 31 years, I've already done so many things that I can look fondly back on. There's still so much more that I've yet to do, but this is one thing that's really special to me because it reminds me of that. I want to do more of that kind of stuff in the future. Just maybe a random 24-hour trip to New York. I've been to New York 3 times, which I will talk about at some point. There's no reason not to. If you want to do something, it's like Shia LaBeouf says, just do it. Just book the ticket, go. It was funny when I came back through customs, getting back into Canada, the the border, the lady at the border asked me like, where were you? Oh, I was in LA. How long were you there? I said I left yesterday at 11 a.m. and she just kind of stopped and was like, what were you doing there? And I said I went to I went to a theater and I watched 3 movies. She's like, what were the movies? Like, fully thinking that I'm like a drug mule. I'm packed to the brim full of heroin or cocaine or something. And I named off the movies. I said, Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, Robot Jocks, which I'm sure you've never heard of, and Inglourious Bastards. She's like, okay, did you buy anything when you were there? And I was like, oh yeah, I bought this hat. I had the hat on. I'm like, oh yeah, I bought this hat. And she was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, some food, I guess. I bought food at the theater. And she's like, what? Like, when did you book your ticket? I was like, I booked it 2 days ago. And she's like getting ready to like stamp me, where they're just gonna strip shirt. So I didn't have a bag. I just had my backpack because I knew I wasn't supposed to be there very long. And she's getting ready to like stamp my passport. Like, you got to go to that line, and they're gonna strip search you, and they're gonna full on gloved hand up the butt. And I'm oh no. I work for an airline. And she's like, hands me my passport. Have a nice day. And I just kind of walked away like chuckling. And yeah, that was fun. That's what that reminds me of. I don't know if you can get this hat anymore, but it's a really well made hat. Meant to replicate the flight suit even with the name tag, the logo. Got nice. I don't know if this is real leather or faux leather on the brim, and then on the inside here, I don't know if you can see that. It says, "We're ready to believe you," because the Ghostbusters are always ready to believe you. But yeah, this is one of my favorite hats, and it just sits on my shelf because I would be absolutely devastated if I ruined it. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Blue Room, and we'll catch you on the next one.